Alright, starting off with the basics. October caddis is upon us. I'm going to tie a bunch of different patterns this month. I'm going to try to focus a lot on caddis flies because October is here. But this one, I'm going to start off with a size 12 hook dry fly. I'm going to throw that up on the vise. Running with some brown thread. We're going to go about a medium brown tint. Also running some medium brown dubbing, a little bit of a flash in there. Going with our red phase hackle, and I'm going the red with the brown to give it a little bit of offset. A lot of people, you can go a lighter tan if you want, that matches your elk hair more. But I'm not going to do elk hair on this one. I'm going to do some muskrat fur because this is some muskrat that I got doing a depredation, and it's got the natural oils on it, so it's floats really well. So let's start it off. We're gonna go ahead and get wrapping with the base on your hook, and I try to keep this as thin as I can, not waste a lot. We don't want to have big bulges in this fly. We want it to stay pretty flat and even. So once you get to this point, we're gonna go ahead and snip off this little tag end we got sitting here, snip it up high, and then tie it in. This is a real simple pattern we're doing today. I'm gonna show you some patterns later this week with some foam. Now when I come back here, I only bring my thread about halfway down to the barb of that hook, not very much farther than that. And then I go right back up towards the top. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is get ourselves a nice thin piece of this hackle, a small one. We're not doing a very big one, big fly here. If you're tying, you know, a size 10 or maybe something, even a size 8 hook, you might wanna go a little bit thicker. But we're rocking just a real small red piece. Remember, we're always gonna strip back our feathers on the spine of this, on this feather here. That way when we tie it in, you don't have little bulges sticking out. All right. I always lay this spine directly on top of that hook. I never like to have it on the sides. I always want it to be directly on top so it balances the weight of that fly. Still got some fuzzies sticking up here I gotta pull off. Some I missed. Some tough ones. All right, and we tie that all the way down. Now this is a real simple fly. Perfect for any beginners out there tying, and if anybody's watching and they want to stay around afterwards and put a comment in to let me know if the comments are working. I'm having a trouble finding out if they're working while I'm filming. So if you want to stay around, put that in, where your home rivers are, what you fish for, what kind of patterns you like. Go ahead and put them down in there. So we're gonna put this dubbing on. Usually I just use my saliva. Some people will use wax. Maybe saliva is not the best thing to do during the coronavirus times, so maybe you should do the wax. So we're gonna wrap it back to the end here, and we wanna get this dubbing wrapping around and get it pretty even layer around your hook. You don't wanna have big bulges anywhere. Now you can see I left a big portion up towards the eye unwrapped with dubbing. Don't necessarily need that. I'm gonna tie on some elk hair, and I'm gonna just use muskrat hair because I've got some really good muskrat right now, so that's what I'll be using. But if you have elk hair, that's where I gotta tie it in. So you need to leave that space there for room, so when you put your elk hair in there, it'll tie in nice. So whichever way you started wrapping, if you were wrapping around the top this direction, then you need to make sure you wrap your hackle in that same direction. If not, and you're wrapping this direction, that's which way you need to take your hackle. I went this way, I usually wrap that way, so that's the direction I'm taking my hackle. Wrap it right over the back. And you're gonna space this out about 1/16 of an inch, maybe even a little less, but every, like almost the width of the spine of the feather, you wanna do every other as far as how many wraps you do, if that makes any sense. And sometimes you see how like I almost lost it, I'll just pinch it with my finger. Some people use the little grips, little vice grip deals that grab your feathers so you don't lose it, but I tend not to bother with that. Now I get up to right where I left off where my dubbing was, and we're gonna go ahead and tie this feather in. Drop that right over that, pull it tight. Drop this one over again, pull it tight. Give it a few wraps to wrap it in real nice and tight. Go ahead and snip off what you have left. And never get rid of these feathers. Always save these feathers. These feathers are great for ant wings and things like that. You never want to get rid of these little feather ends. Okay, so now that you're at this point, real simple. You're just gonna cut out a grip of your muskrat hair, and since mine's pretty dark, and I got a lot of red in there, I'm gonna go with the lighter brown portion over here of this muskrat and stay off the back. Maybe you come over here towards the edge, get some of this, but you want a more brown since you have that dark body on there so that your wings have a little offset. So I just go ahead and I snip out a big chunk. And then you want to make sure, a big thing you got to do is pull out all these little feathers or these little soft furs in the base of the guard hairs on that muskrat. You don't want any of these soft bottom hairs. They just tend to draw more moisture onto your fly. So then we're going to take this and we're just going to lay it right on the head like so. Tie it on in. Then what I'll do is that you can see this section is laying off flat in the front. You want it to stick up like this. So what I'll do is I'll come underneath that whole grip of it and bring my thread right underneath it, and I'll start building up a little thread ball there. And watch what that does. So I shot that straight out in front. It's exactly what you're looking for. So now it's just a real simple as just snipping this down some, you know, get it to a good level. You want it to be visible off the eye of the hook, but not too long. Like about right there. And you can do this different color phases, like I said, with a light tan. You could do pretty much anything, depending on how they are where you're at. I know a lot of people do olive. They get a lot of olive caddis where they're at, but I don't really tend to see a lot of olive. So, oh, stabbing myself. Simple knot. Another simple knot if you can get the loop on it. Boop. Then you're gonna go ahead and hit that with your hardener. And then there's your little simple elk hair caddis, but instead of elk hair, we're using some muskrat hair because I like the natural oils it has on it, and looks really good. So that's what they're looking at. All right, guys, we're gonna have a bunch more coming this month. I'm gonna have a foam one I'm gonna be doing here later this week, and some other ones, but this is just a real simple pattern. If you wanted to hit this with a light brown in there and then a darker muskrat or darker elk on top, that would look good too. You can pretty much do anything you want with this, but that's what we're looking for right there. Alrighty, we're gonna get on out of here, folks. Get on out there, get after them.